Hello everyone, it's Frank again with a new tool review. This is most likely the tool that has shown up the most on this channel. It is my Big Red 3-ton jack, which also brought two matching jack stands with it. I've had this jack for well over 6 years, and because of that it's a bit beat up, and I don't exactly know what the model number is, and it doesn't really show it anywhere on site, at least not in the conditions it's in right now. I did, however, find an ad on Amazon, which is no longer available, that the picture matches up perfectly, so I'm assuming this is the correct model number. Torin, the parent company that makes the Big Red line of jacks, is in Ontario, California, and it was founded in 1993. Other than that, I couldn't really find much about them. Also, they're sold in pretty much every single store online you can find. But in all likelihood, that's not what you're here for, so let's talk about what you want to hear. Do I like this jack? What do I like? What do I dislike? First, what I like. As it says on the side of the jack, this is the low profile version. This thing sits low to the ground and it fits under quite a bit of cars. Yet it doesn't lose as much height as you would think it would. Yeah, I had to add that little rubber block on the top of it, but that's because the cars I use it on are freakishly tall. Not everybody has gigantic monster trucks like I do. Some people have regular cars or even regular trucks. My daily driver truck, which is only lifted 4 inches, can be lifted perfectly with this jack. Because of that, the range of vehicles this jack can be used on is one of the things I like. A second thing I like about this is how well it's maintained itself. I live in a place that's very wet, very humid, so most things here end up rusting after, a couple months, much less 6 years like this thing has. So it's pretty impressive that it's still, the paint's still there. It's not really too rusty. There's a little rust, on the wheels and stuff, but nothing too bad. And it seems pretty structurally strong, and that's good. And finally, the most important one, which is sort of tied into that last one. This jack is sturdy. I have beat it to hell, and it still keeps on working pretty damn near flawlessly. I've never done any maintenance on it whatsoever, and it just keeps moving along like nothing, and that's really impressive. Now, on to what I don't like. First of all, the pole on this jack was held on by a bolt. That bolt was a humongous pain. It would constantly loosen by itself to the point where it would fall off, and then when you actually wanted it to come off, it would take forever to unscrew it, which is really annoying. So although being able to remove the pole is great because you can use that to leverage a wrench or a socket out, or you can just use the jack without it, it was kind of a pain in the ass to get it out because of that bolt. However, that was an easy fix. I drilled out the hole and I put one of these little pins in, and that's it. Super easy to remove it, super easy to put it back on, and it gives you a little bit more leverage when you're trying to twist to let down the jack. And while we're talking about twisting, the teeth that connect the pole to the actual jack, they're a little bit worn down. So sometimes they'll skip a little bit, but it doesn't always happen and it's not really that bad. I can usually wiggle it around the bit and it'll catch. If you've seen the intro to my channel, then you know about the jack stands and how they're a little bit wobbly and will tip over. But you can't really fault them for that. Most lower weight jack stands seem to have the same design. It's weird. As opposed to the heavier duty jack stands that have that triangle shape designed to them, which is much harder to tip over. And finally, but definitely not least, what I find to be my biggest gripe with this jack and jack stand is the fact that it will slowly come down on you when you're not paying attention. This is something that it slowly started doing in probably the last year or so, and it's kind of hard to see it. So I tried to do like a little pseudoscience test here. I put some weight on it, see if it would slowly drop while the camera was filming. I started off with a bag of charcoal, which apparently wasn't enough weight. I then put a concrete block, which it did go down a little bit, even though I didn't see it when it happened. But now looking at the video, I see it did went down just a bit, but it wasn't as much as it normally does when it actually has weight on it. So for that, I'm going to put a video from when I was, I believe, putting a spacer on the ATV, and you really see how it drops pretty quick. Now, mind you, these videos are sped up, so it isn't that quick as it like in real life, but it does slowly drop, which is a little bit scary, and the main reason I always use jack stands and not just rely on the jack. As you can see, it dropped about an inch in just under 10 minutes. And now for the hard question. Would I buy this jack stand and jack again? Yeah, I probably would at that time. Now, modern times, I'd probably get a rapid pump or something like that. You know, I would want something with more bells and whistles. But at the time I bought this, I think this jack is pretty good. And the amount of time it's like survived, I think is extremely impressive. Which makes me really think about getting another Big Red, Torin, whatever you want to call it, jack as my next jack. If this one ever breaks, that is. To be honest, most of the problems this jack has aren't really that bad. The bolt that holds the pole in place, that was easily fixed. The worn out teeth, probably due to lack of maintenance. I probably should be greasing that. The jack stand's tipping easily. You probably shouldn't be putting lateral force on a jack stand. And it going down by itself, I'm pretty sure I have to put hydraulic fluid or burp it or do something to it, and that would be fixed. Because of that though, I'm going to give this a 7.5 out of 8. As always, if you enjoy this kind of content, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you have any questions, leave me a comment below. Thanks for watching.